Human papillomavirus is a common, preventable virus that can cause cancer later in life. The HPV vaccine prevents human papillomavirus and all the cancers it can cause. The American Cancer Society recommends getting your sons and daughters the HPV vaccine starting at age 9 to protect them later in life.
I thought it was just stress. But then it felt like I was stuck in a state of panic, obsessed with worry that something bad would happen if I didn't complete endless rituals. I couldn't solve this on my own. So I made the call. I found a doctor who diagnosed me with OCD. Now I'm able to live more in the present.
Mental health care works when you make the call. Visit mentalhealthcareworks.org. A message from the American Psychiatric Association Foundation.
I was in the hospital with my son for 18 months.
When he got injured, I wasn't prepared, but I knew I had to be strong.
When I was told about John's injury, I was in complete shock. I just remember rushing into his room and giving him a big hug and letting him know I was there.
These veterans and families are just a few of the heroes we serve at Homes for Our Troops. For thousands of severely injured veterans, everyday life is filled with barriers.
It was really the little things throughout the house. Counters that you can't roll up to.
How to drag my wheelchair down steps.
I want to help, but he is so determined.
At Homes for Our Troops, we build specially adapted custom homes with features like wheelchair access, roll-in showers, and automatic door openers that allow them to function independently and focus on their recovery and family.
This house is freedom.
It's hope. It's a new beginning.
This house has given me my family back.
To learn more, visit hfotusa.org.
We don't want you on our team. You're too slow and fat.
This is weight bias.
I'm worried about your weight.
Don't you care what other people think?
Millions who live and are affected by obesity face weight bias every day.
You're not the right fit for this job.
Unfair judgment by others.
Just stop eating so much and exercise some. You lose all this weight.
These people often blame themselves.
It's just me. Nobody likes me.
I do exercise and eat right. And I talk to my doctor.
Weight bias hurts.
Everyone deserves to be treated with dignity and respect.
Your words and actions matter.
Let's stop weight bias.
Let's work together.
Be part of the solution. Go to stopweightbias.com and learn more. A public service message from Obesity Action Coalition.
To be able to go back to the movies.
Introduce my family to my new girlfriend.
For my husband, who's been a chronic asthmatic his whole life.
So I can visit friends in a different state.
So I can take my granddaughter out to the park again.
So that I can hug my 85-year-old grandma again.
We each have our own reason for why we're getting vaccinated against COVID-19. What will yours be? Visit getvaccineanswers.org for information on the COVID-19 vaccines. It's up to you. Brought to you by the Ad Council.
Hey, where's Hal Sparks? I'm not sure where he is now, but I know where you can find him Saturdays at 11. He'll be right here on WCPT 820 for the Hal Sparks radio program, Mega Worldwide. You're listening to WCPT 820 because facts matter.
Welcome to Choose Views with Richard Chew. Get ready to dive into a world of insightful conversations and thought-provoking discussions.
As progressives, our job is to have an all-inclusive, full-on assault with all of our players.
A show that focuses on moving our political, social, economic, gender, and cultural conversation forward.
And all of our players means all of our players.
It's Choose Views. And now, here's your host, Richard Chew.
Good Wednesday morning, progressives and all the rest. Welcome to the March 25th, 2026. See, I got that right, guys. Edition of Choose Views, 773-763-9278. Find my show on Facebook Live, TuneIn Radio, and YouTube. Email me at richard@WCPT820.com. And follow me on all the socials, as usual. X, Instagram, Threads, Spoutable, Blue Sky, LinkedIn, Facebook, and Substack. Yes, we hang out there. And, of course, catch all of our shows by subscribing to our WCPT podcast on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Amazon, iHeartRadio. Make sure you're there. You can get Choose Views, featured interviews, Joan Esposito, live, local, and progressive, Patty Vasquez driving you home. It's The Democracy Stupid with Edwin Eisendrath. And, of course, Out Chicago and our other shows and great interviews. And, of course, as always, heartlandsignal.com and our digital platform. A couple key ones you guys should check out. And after the first break, I'm going to lean into one particularly. And that's this one. Marionette Miller Meeks taking tens of thousands of dollars from insurance companies. I'll get into that in a second, but that's one you definitely want to dig into. Wisconsin State Democratic Senate leader, Senator Hasselbein from Middleton, Wisconsin, says that state Republicans should be criticized for funding voucher schools while voters are being asked to increase their property taxes. It's clear Republicans in the Senate are comfortable watching your property taxes rise and your quality of education go down. So check, that's a great one there. And it kind of leans into a little bit of what I talked about yesterday with Lavora Barnes about, and certainly with Dr. Jessica Hawk when it comes to school vouchers and the problem with that as it relates to education on a state basis. But then, on a national basis, we've created this trend. So check that out. The other one is Wisconsin State Senator Brett Pfaff, I think it is correctly pronounced, a Democrat, blames Republicans and their Republican leadership for the state legislature's property taxes increase across the state, irrespective of education. They're cynically defunding schools at the state level, and then they're forcing taxpayers to pick up the check. So two really great articles that are there from our great team and our Heartland Signal digital platform. So make your way over there and like and share by all means. It is Wednesday, so our guest on our show today, the powerful lineup, we've got Dan Summins, who is the managing director of Blessings in a Backpack. And every now and again, we've got to make sure we're reaching out and talking to some of our local organizations, not just here in Chicago, but throughout the country, are doing to help fill the void, if you will, in the areas that sometimes our local and state governments can't do. They may not have the resources to do. But where currently we are, the federal government is taking away from our people, taking away from our kids, taking away from our local organizations with some of these cuts. And so Dan, of course, is the managing director of Blessings in a Backpack. He'll be with us. And our guest is George Colone, who is one of the leaders in the local Chicago Boys and Girls Club. And we're going to talk about the different locations that they're in and what they're doing throughout the city of Chicago and the surrounding area. And then in the 7 o'clock hour, since it is Wednesday, Kurt Mullett from Hoosier Blue 63 will be with us. Looking forward to chatting with Kurt, as always. And then in the 7:30 hour, we'll be talking to, he does everything, Henry, author, political strategist, podcast host, SiriusXM, Qasim Rashid. And we're going to talk about a few things when it comes to elections, money in politics, and how we have to be paying attention right now to certain things when it comes to the midterms, some of the things that I've been saying. So looking forward to talking with Qasim in the 7:30 hour. So stay tuned for that. But like I said, when we come back from the first break, I want to talk about two things that broke yesterday. One of them is a story that we didn't break the story necessarily, but we have been reporting on this, and it's something that you guys want to be aware of. And then we're going to talk a little bit about what's happening with regard to this war in Iraq. I'm sorry, I keep saying that. I apologize. War in Iran. And then TSA, Department of Homeland Security, and ICE at airports. But right now, check this out, progressives.
As you bring up that $200 billion potential supplemental to aid military replenishment, is that coming? Do you have an understanding that that's?
Again, it's like everything. You get, you hear things are going to come. Is it fact? Is it not? Now you're hearing the exact same things that I am hearing, that they were at the White House last night. They're talking about reconciliation packages, putting that amount of money into something that would fund ICE. Will we this week? I want to make it clear. Republicans have voted against funding TSA, FEMA, Coast Guard 7 times in the last few weeks. Democrats have a discharge petition to pay everybody inside Homeland Security except for ICE, which, by the way, already has money running it from the big bad bill. So we do need guardrails on ICE, period. I don't care what anyone says, but TSA is struggling and hurting. And I spend a lot of time with those men and women back home.
When you hear the contours of this deal that sounds likely that they hashed out at the White House last night, that Democrats and Republicans have been going back and forth on, it sounds like there are some guardrails being proposed, maybe judicial warrants that came up during the DHS Secretary's confirmation hearing just last week. It doesn't sound like there's yet been progress on wearing masks. That was another key stipulation for Democrats. Do you think that there's enough there in this potential new deal to get some Democrats on board? Or?
I think warrants are very critical. Those are one of the most fundamental principles of the Constitution. Yeah. I'm getting mixed signals on the masks. You know, I asked on Sunday, ICE is going into airports. Are they going to wear masks? They did not wear masks yesterday. I didn't notice what they accomplished of anything. Yeah. But the masks weren't on the ICE officers. So is there openness? I've heard both sides again. But there are a lot of rumors, and that's the problem. You don't even... There's so many rumors, but you'll even hear statements from principals that you don't know if the principal's right or wrong.
That was Representative Debbie Dingell from Michigan. And she's always been one to vocalize her opinion about what's happening with the federal government. And you could see, and that was a clip from MS Now's Ana Cabrera. Okay. So real quickly before we hit this break, this additional funding is absolutely insane. It's absolutely insane. We talked about this late last week when it first broke. The amount of money that it is, $200 billion, is a whole bunch of money, and what that can do to help so many communities, red, blue, and in the middle, is completely. It's crazy that we would even be thinking about it. Not we, but that Republicans would be thinking about it. But to her point, they don't know. And ICE at the airports, there's a lot of they don't know. I'm tired of Republicans getting away with, and whether it's Democrats not doing a good enough job of calling it out, whether there be the Schumer and Jeffries or other Democratic leaders or elected officials, we have to be willing to talk about the insanity and the craziness of what they're offering, meaning the Republicans. I want to encourage, and I know Qasim and I will talk about this, we have to push our folks to yell louder when it comes to this insanity. There's no way any Democrat, it should be a hard no. There's no, we got to consider it, we got to read what's in the request. No, it's a flat out no on this $200 billion. Now, the Republicans are the ones that are asking for it. But in the conversation around what we have to do, I believe we have to really encourage and push our elected officials on all levels. I mean, hell, we got to talk to our mayors to say, let the federal government know that $200 billion could come to your communities to benefit what you guys are trying to do in your communities. That's how stern we have to be about it. No nicely or what is it? Strongly worded letters and none of that garbage. It's got to be no, hard no. And with that, we're going to take a break. 773-763-9278 is the number. You're listening to Choose Views on WCPT, AM 820 in Chicago, and WARR 1520 AM and 103.5 FM from Warren County, North Carolina. I'm Richard Chu. We'll be right back.
WCPT replay.
I worked all day updating my office on what's going on with ICE agents. These are animals. There's video of them tasing a man who was already zip tied in a vehicle, and they tased him because what? They didn't like the way he was behaving, or he was already zip tied. Not to mention a 1-year-old who was exposed to tear gas as her parents were running errands, as they were also, by the way, chasing down an 11-year-old girl. I'm not going to say I'm sorry for calling them animals who won't even share their badge numbers shares their names or their faces with us. Spare me for their protection, as though there aren't judges, police officers, FBI, all the different areas of law enforcement and our justice system who do put themselves on the line. We've had judges whose families have been killed in their homes. So you're telling me that an ICE agent is feeling a little bit, are they feeling vulnerable?
Keep listening to WCPT 820 because facts matter.
You're listening to WCPT 820 because facts matter.
This is Chew's Views with Richard Chew.
Hey, guys, welcome back to the show, 773-763-9278. Give us a call today. We'll try to squeeze you in. I know we got a full plate of guests, but I will make sure that we try to get you on if you give us a holler. Couple of quick Chew's Views news items on this March 25th, 2026. The global economy is being battered, of course, by the conflict in the Middle East. The war in Iran is hammering global economies with what Bloomberg is calling a synchronized shock that's boosting prices and stifling growth. From Europe to Australia to India, March indexes compiled by the S&P Global showed across-the-board declines among purchasing managers. Meanwhile, costs have climbed in Germany and in the United Kingdom, while monetary officials in Europe, Japan, and Australia have either linked hiked interest rates or are discussing it. So there you go. Iran's continued attacks, despite the U.S. optimism on talks, which means that talks are probably not working. Brent crude climbed above $100 a barrel yesterday as Iran maintained attacks on its neighbors, a day after Donald Trump announced he would propose strikes on Iranian energy sites for 5 days after the two nations participated in a productive conversation. Just stop, U.S. Just flat out stop. Massive heat dome is moving east. Yeah, we saw this coming, shattering March records. A heat dome that sent temperatures skyrocketing across the Southwest is moving toward the eastern part of the United States, threatening to become one of the most expansive heat waves in American history, according to the Associated Press. Temperatures are expected to hit the 90s across the southern and central plains later today. The heat wave is unusually vast. Basically, the entire U.S. is going to be hot, one meteorologist noted. The dome has already broken March heat records in 14 states. Prepare yourselves. With this cost of energy going up and this war, United Airlines is adding premium seats and cuts back on coach. United Airlines yesterday revealed a new cabin design that included more seating in premium sections and less in coach, as the carrier seeks to boost profit. Leadership at United indicated recently that demand remains strong, especially for premium seating, even as fuel prices spike due to the ongoing conflicts in the Middle East. The new designs reflect a trend among airlines that are increasingly catering to higher-end customers. Their rival, meaning United's rival Delta, expects premium revenue to exceed main cabin sales in this year, 2026. And Trader Joe's expands a recall over glass contamination fears. This recall of frozen meals extended to 43 states over concerns the food could contain glass, according to the Boston Globe. The FDA posted a recent notice warning that tainted meals, including some chicken and rice dinners, could include pieces of glass from 1 to 3 centimeters long. Ajinomoto Foods in Portland, Oregon, issued its first recall of more than 3 million pounds February 19th, and has since upped that to 37 million pounds of food. Consumers should disregard or return any affected items. I should say discard or return any affected items. So there you go, guys. A couple of quick Choose Views news items on this March 25th, 2025. All right. I mentioned this before, a little bit before, about Marionette Miller Meeks. The reason that this is a story that we have over at Heartland Signal, and she is a representative from Iowa. She's somebody that I would love us to get that seat, and not just for this particular incident, but as the story reads, Marionette Miller took tens of thousands from insurance PACs while opposing the ACA tax credit extension. She got it from insurance PACs, many of them pharmaceutical. But at the end of the day, the campaign finance records show that she took at least $45,000 from companies that you're going to recognize: Johnson & Johnson, Gentech, Novartis, Pfizer, and a number of others. And there's a lot of problems that we can have with it, but this goes back to something that I've said before. It's the hypocrisy of the Republican Party. Now, we can get after our Democratic candidates all day long about who's taking money from which organization. We can do that all day long. There's data that shows. I mean, listen, that's fishing in the shallow end of the lake. Let's go to the deep end of the lake, because that's where all the real harm is taking place when it comes to political money. It's for the Republicans. It's with the Republicans. She is taking money from organizations that will benefit from having fewer people be covered for insurance and have to pay out of their pockets, or have, let me put it this way as well, fewer people having the ability to pay out of their pockets and being covered, while these companies are charging crazy money. And even when people are covered, that just increases the amount of money that an insurance plan is going to be to a firm that offers it to its employees. But she's taking money, PAC money, from organizations while she sat back and opposed the ACA tax credits. That is hypocrisy at its finest. We have to be much more vigilant about calling out people like that than cutting the ankles of our own candidates that are running as Democrats or progressives. We can get upset with our people all day long, but when we don't call this out, that to me is a failed process coming from us. This is where we should put our energies, guys. It's the Marion Miller Meeks that have got to go. I must just say this, and I'll take the heat for it. I would rather have a moderate Democrat in an office in a state where maybe there are more moderate voters and consumers living than I would have someone like this. Okay? I would rather, let me be clear, let me say it again for those that didn't hear me say it or didn't believe I said it. I would rather have a moderate Democrat that's going to get things done in his or her district than someone like this that's taking PAC money from the industry that wants to block people being covered for their medical coverage and doesn't give a darn about Medicare or Medicaid for that matter. So Marion Miller Meeks that's who you want to go after. If you want to get upset with somebody, get upset with her. You know, don't be upset with a moderate Democrat because they're navigating and negotiating in a moderate or red state. Go after the Marion Miller Meeks of the world on the Republican Party, the GOP, the hypocrites that are causing this garbage and not standing up to Donald Trump and the entire administration and the cabinet when it comes to asking for $200 billion to continue to fund this war. You can find that article at heartlandsignal.com. It's written by Rich Eberwine. It's a great, great article, so check it out. On to another matter when it comes to the Republican Party. We've got local organizations. We've got the Blessings in a Backpack of the world doing great work. We've got Boys and Girls Clubs doing great work to help children. Meanwhile, we've got people like Meeks who are taking money from PACs and then preventing benefits and subsidies coming to families. We've got people in this administration asking for $200 billion to continue a war when local organizations can use that money and do far greater to protect our country. And then we've got the Pentagon preparing to send 3,000 troops to the Middle East. What kind of drugs are they on? So, y'all, we can get upset with Democrats all day long. We can have people calling from all over the country saying, Chew, you should be covering this. You should be talking about that. I'm going to talk about what I got to talk about. And right now we need to talk about the fact that we've got a Republican administration, cabinet, and GOP at large that is asking for money for something that we don't need to be doing, asking now requesting or preparing, I should say, for troops to be deployed, 3,000 troops to the Middle East. Mothers and fathers, sons and daughters, brothers and sisters are going to die if we deploy troops on the ground. I'm telling you that's going to happen. It's sad as hell to have to say it, but that's the reality of where we are. Democrats didn't cause that, y'all. Not having there's a laundry list of things I could go down where people want to get after me about what we talk about on this show, but none of it is at the feet of Democrats as it relates to what we're talking about right now with troops being deployed. Not one thing. So if you're going to be upset about something, if you're going to waste your time about something, then get involved with talking to your local. Here's an example. If you call yourself a progressive liberal Democrat anywhere in that scale, and you're in a red state, you should be calling your and when I say red state, I mean you've got congressional leaders that are on the Republican side. You should be calling them rather than being upset with me. If you're in Iowa, you should be getting after Marion Miller Meeks. You know, if you're in Florida, you should be getting after the people there. You should be working to flip the state from red to blue in terms of the governorship rather than getting upset with me. If you're in Texas, you should be looking to support the candidates there that are trying to turn the state purple or blue. Because if we deploy 3,000 troops, they're going to be from all political parties. And that's the part that's heartbreaking right now. Let's take a quick break, guys. The number is 773-763-9278. You're listening to Choose Views on WCPT AM 820 in Chicago and WARR 1520 AM and 103.5 FM from Warren County, North Carolina. I'm Richard Chu. We'll be right back.
Excuse me, miss. Can I ask you a question?
Sure.
Can you recommend a bank that offers a full suite of commercial banking products along with excellent service?
Yes, ABOC.
What about a bank that has been in Chicago for more than 100 years and really understands the local business climate?
ABOC.
But I manage a labor union. Can you recommend a bank that really understands how labor unions operate and what banking products they need?
Again, ABOC. ABOC first opened its doors in downtown Chicago in 1922 and understands the local business climate better than anyone. ABOC was founded by labor unions and still has union employees and shareholders today, so they really understand how unions tick and how their needs may be different. But whether you're with a labor union or another type of business, whether you're large or small or something in between, ABOC will always make you feel like you're their most important customer. Visit ABOC.com to learn more.
Wow, thank you, random person on the street. I'm going to visit ABOC.com today.
Member FDIC.
You're listening to WCPT 820. Here's the latest Chicago weather update.
From the Weatherology Weather Center, I'm meteorologist Jennifer Wojcicki. Skies will become mostly sunny here for today with a high into the lower 70s. We'll have southwest winds of 5 to 15 miles per hour, gusting as high as 30. And then for tonight, a slight chance for some showers and thunderstorms. Cloudy skies with a low around 55. Thursday, a chance for showers and storms here late. Partial sunshine develops high of 79 degrees. That's your latest Chicago weather update. Currently, it's 45.
Alexa, play WCPT.
WCPT from TuneIn.
This is Choose Views with Richard Chu.
All right, guys, welcome back to the show, 773-763-9278. We have a number of people who, as I've said before, have done such a great job in making sure that local organizations are run well, local organizations are doing the things to help people in our communities. And on a national level, they do the same thing. It's been a couple of weeks, but back with us this morning are our folks from the Chicago chapter of Blessings in a Backpack. Managing Director Dan Summins is with us, and we've got a great guest with us as well from the Boys and Girls Club, George Colone. Good morning, guys. Good morning, Dan. Good morning, George, and welcome to Choose Views.
Good morning, Richard. Morning. Thank you for having us.
Absolutely. Dan, haven't talked in a while. We all been busy. We were working our way through the primaries, And now we've got to get ourselves ready for some of the special elections that are taking place over the next few months and all the rest of the things that are happening until we get to the midterms. I know you guys don't take you don't take a day off when it comes to making sure that children are protected and children have the resources and the sustenance that they need for the weekends. Real quick, Dan, just take a minute to highlight Blessings in a Backpack, and I got to throw out some numbers first, and then you can talk. But this is one that just blew me away. In 2024, this is what listeners have got to pay attention to all over the country. 230,000 hunger-free weekends, 6,200 kids, 92 locations, 2,000 volunteers. Dan, take it away.
Well, thanks, Richard. Thanks for checking our website. I appreciate that. One thing I want to say, the numbers are even better. We're a part of a national organization. We serve, about 3 million hunger-free, smile-filled weekends every year, 1,200 locations in 44 different states in the District of Columbia. So almost regardless of where you're listening to us in the U.S., there's a Blessings chapter near you. I'm the managing director for Chicago. We are super proud of that number. Right now, we're feeding more than 6,000 kids at 100 locations in the greater Chicago area. That's going to be 230,000 hunger-free weekends. And it's all to make sure that kids, when they're sitting on school on Friday afternoon and don't know what the future holds as far as if they're going to have enough to eat, we want to make sure that those kids can focus on school, focus on their weekends, focus on being a young person, because they don't have that worry.
And that's a big part of any family's concern. And I say family, whether we have children or not, it's a big part of making sure that the kids in our communities are protected. And one of the fastest, easiest, quickest ways to do that is make sure that they aren't going hungry. And I think it starts there in so many cases. Also with this is club director of the Boys and Girls Club of Chicago, George Colone. Good morning, George, and welcome to the show.
Good morning, Richard. Thanks for having me here, too. Good morning, Dan.
Good morning.
George, take a moment and tell us a little bit about your work. Tell us a little bit about, the location that you are the director of and why it's so important to the overall community when it comes to the Boys and Girls Club.
Absolutely. Well, Richard, I've been working with the Boys and Girls Clubs of Chicago. I've had the fortunate opportunity to work for an organization that was founded in 1902, whose focus is primarily to enable all young people, especially those who need us most, to reach their full potential as productive, caring, and responsible citizens. And we do that throughout the city of Chicago, currently through 9 locations that we have throughout various communities in the city of Chicago where the young people really need us. So we serve about 15,000 young folks ages 5 to 20, and we do that through a wide range of our programs that, pretty much focuses on their emotional, their educational, physical needs, as well as being able to provide them with, the cultural resources or nutritional resources that they need so that they can have a good childhood and be able to grow as young folks and not have to worry about so many struggles. And that's why I'm very fortunate to have this opportunity to be on this platform today, because of our partnership that has developed over the past couple of years with Dan and Blessings in the Backpack. I'm currently the club director. I'm approaching 25 years of being a part of this movement. And I currently work at our club that's located in the Uptown community. So that's why I had the opportunity to work with Dan, so he's really close to us. And, being able to just be there for young folks and who really need us, and to be that big brother figure, and to be able to provide whatever opportunities they need so that they know that they are important in life. But, the reality is our families, they struggle. They have a lot of resources, needs that they have, especially from financial from a financial standpoint. So sometimes, to some people, the simplest thing is, being able to go out and purchase a meal is something that just doesn't exist with some of those families. With some of the families that come through our locations, the meals that we provide for them, in some cases, is the only meal that they're receiving. So having Blessings in the Backpack and their commitment and the volunteers who are always there and available to do what we call packing days and come out and just to see the smiles on their faces, and they're putting together these healthy nutritional packages for our club kids. I mean, it's just a delight for me. And I wish you could see me now. I know this is radio, but I'm sitting here on the other side. I'm smiling because I'm able to stand there and witness it, and then to see the impact that it has. When Fridays come out to our young folks, and in the cases they look forward to it now, so they'll say, hey, where's our snack packs? And I say, well, the red wagon is coming out. So they're able to take those packages home, and to be able to, so that they can feel good about themselves, to have something healthy to snack on, and to be able to provide something maybe to a sibling that they have in their household.
Yeah, what's interesting, when you talked about the smile, I could feel the smile. I was smiling here, Henry and Mike as well, because of the fact that a local a national organization, or an organization that has a national footprint here that's managed so wonderfully well by Dan and partnering with you, is putting smiles on people's faces, whether it be people that are the children that are directly impacted by the actual gift and the backpack and the food and the sustenance, or if it's people that are listening. And I know that there are people listening all over the country that had smiles on their faces. And so it's great that it was great to hear you say that, because I could feel that smile, even though I couldn't see that smile, George. So
yeah, it's there. That's why I really enjoy doing what I do. Like I said, I have 25 years that I'm approaching with Boys and Girls Clubs of Chicago, which is a wonderful organization. I've been doing youth development work for over 30 years now, so I've had the wonderful opportunity to meet so many people throughout my career, who have genuine care and want to see, our communities uplift themselves and so forth. And it really does take a village to help raise, these young folks. So, and it's certainly things that we can't do all by ourselves. It's really tough now, out here raising money. So we, as an organization, we really work really hard to bring in the dollars, whether it's through, private donations or public donations. A lot of federal grant money has sort of gone away. But, yet we still know that there are people out there who will be very supportive to our mission. And, whether they're giving dollars directly or is some type of in-kind support, so we're always looking for opportunities to, have those collaborating partnerships that can be developed. That, like I say, Dan and his organization does a wonderful thing, and they should really be patted on the back for the work they do. I truly appreciate them, as like I say, we've had the partnership for a few years now, and his organization has recently, started reaching out to and developing some partnerships with some of our other local clubs. So at some point, I hope to be back on this platform, Richard, and be able to say how Blessings in the Backpack is just, and Boys and Girls Club together is just a dynamic duo. So, but yeah, I can't thank you guys enough, like I say, for one, inviting me here this morning to talk about this partnership, and then to, just to be able to talk about what we do. Both organizations is really trying to do something good for families.
Yeah, one of the things that I really have been trying to do with this show is, we cover so much political conversation, so much national and local a conversation when it comes to politics and social issues, of course. But I always understand that it's local organizations, many of them volunteer-based, that do so much work to sustain our communities, our children, our elderly, and everybody in between. And so I'm honored as well to have you guys on to be able to talk about the importance of that. I've said for years, I had woman on the show yesterday, Dr. Jessica Hawk, also known as my teacher face. And I said one of the most important things that we can do to strengthen our national defense is make sure that our children are educated and our healthcare systems are in place to take care of all of us. If we strengthen those areas, then we know that we're building a strong society. And you guys are at the tip of the spear with that on a day-to-day basis. George, you mentioned something a moment ago about the number of clubs. There's quite a few, and I did not realize this, locations. Yours, of course, Pedersen-McCormick. For those who are not in the Chicagoland area, that's on the north side of Chicago. Then you've got ones I've counted all over the city. That means south, west, and it's great to see the reach. And like you said about working with Dan and Blessings, that they've got a great reach as well in terms of the schools throughout the city of Chicago and surrounding suburbs that they've been able to work with. So it is a nice dynamic duo and nice partnership to see.
Oh, yes, absolutely. Unfortunately, this over the past year, so we had a presence in a lot of schools as well through a partnership, school-based grant dollars. There were federal dollars that, unfortunately has sort of gone away. So some of those locations and partnerships we had to dissolve, but we did not dissolve the commitment to continue to serve those young folks. So, we came up with creative ways to still partner them up with our standalone clubs that which is our brick and mortar buildings that still exist in the communities. So we currently still have eight, and actually we're reopening one of our locations in Ford Heights. We're doing that currently now. So we have a presence way in the far, outer suburban area parts of Chicago. But yeah, we're spread it out. We have clubs on the far west side. We're in the Bridgeport community. We're in the Little Village communities. We're in Garfield. So we're all over. And the good thing about everything is, all of our clubs, we work together. So we're always trying to, collaborate and move and try to build those bridges, between the communities so that our kids in Uptown can feel great and develop partnerships and with the young folks who live in Bridgeport.
Absolutely.
And the same. So, so we're very proud of the work that we're able to do through that ability. But then, like I said, then having partners, like Blessings in a Backpack for Dan, and like for my club, Northwestern University has been a great partner for us for over years, where we have a on-site science lab where our kids have a science club, and they've been learning, and now they've been encouraged to want to pursue careers in medicine. So we're hoping that we'll have young folks who want to become nutritionists and or go into the food industry just because of the exposure and some of the stuff that we do with Blessings in a Backpack.
Yeah.
Volunteers are always, not only are they putting together the bags, they're taking the time to sit down and write encouraging notes that they put into each one of those bags. So, that a kid reaches in there, and when they pull it out, you should just, I could see it every day, but just imagine when they pull it out and the smile that goes on their faces, they're reading it, to say, wow, somebody really cares about me. So, it's just a wonderful thing. And I wouldn't want to do anything else with my life, other than what I've been doing. So if I could go back in time, I would still choose to be in youth development, just to see these young people grow.
You still pick the blue pill.
Yes, sir.
You're listening to Choose Views on WCPT AM 820 and in Chicago, and WARR 1520 AM and 103.5 FM from Warren County, North Carolina. I'm Richard Chu. We're talking with Dan Summins, who is the managing director of the Chicago chapter of Blessings in a Backpack, and also George Colone, who's the club director of the Pedersen-McCormick Boys and Girls Club of Chicago. Two great leaders here in our wonderful city. You mentioned the Science Club. You tell us a little bit more about that and that partnership with Northwestern University.
Sure. Wow. So this partnership has actually been about 20-something years now, where we started off having an on-site science club program where we wanted to expose middle school young folks, to STEM programming. And one of the things was, as I was going through my career, is I noticed that kids, they really learn a lot by the ability to be able to touch, feel, and smell the learning process. And science has all of the above. So it was just great. So one of the things was they had the resources, they had the professors and the graduate students who wanted to be a part of this program. What they needed was space and the young folks. And that was something I was like, oh, okay, we can easily provide that. So we had a space that was renovated, and needless to say, the program has just grown over the years. As I say, where, these kids have just been exposed to some of the best, in my opinion, some of the best young folks that's engaged in science, and coming from a credible university, Northwestern University, their Center for Genetic Medicine is where they work with. So we now have spinoff programs at our local club that include junior science clubs. So we're able to offer STEM programming to our 5- and 6-year-olds. We have a medical prism program that is sort of spun off from it. So over the years, even the volunteers that has been a part of it, they were like, hey, well, we want to see some continuation of this. Once the kids, once the kids outgrow the program, because, like I said, it was designed for middle school. So what happens when they hit high school level? So we started designing programs to spin off of it. So it's really, for me, I've always been about observing and watching the programs that our kids really have interest in, and then just, seeing how can we take it to another level for them. If they have the interest, their participation level is going to be fully there.
Yeah, and it's great to see a program that started a long time ago still be viable and still be operational, because it is part of the future. When you look back and say how long it's been in place, and then you think about how that's going to be a platform for children in the future, it's exciting, really exciting to see and hear. You've had some recent events that have been pretty prominent in terms of the Youth of the Year Award, and you've just recently hosted your, I think it's your third or fourth youth soccer tournament. Is that true?
Oh, well, we've had many soccer tournaments. That was probably one of our big agency-wide soccer clinics that just took place, where we have all of our kids from all of our different clubs. Then they come in. There's a clinic that they go through. And we have those with the Chicago Blackhawks, because we have a partnership now with them as to a centennial program. So all of our buildings have a beautiful mural that has been recently painted on the outside of them that is very reflective of each one of our respective communities. And then there's resources there. They're inviting the young folks to come over actually to the Blackhawks Arena for a learn to skate program. So our kids are now actually learning how to ice skate as well as play hockey. You talked about the Youth of the Year. The Youth of the Year event, yes, that's our organization. That's our big main, feature program that highlights our teams. It's our leadership program. So it's where the best of the best leaders of each club come together and they compete through their academic portfolios that they put together. They work with writing of speeches and so forth. And then the culminating event takes place at Navy Pier in the grand ballroom, where each one of these young folks stand on their stage and they tell their story of life and how the Boys and Girls Clubs, their local clubs, has impacted their lives. And it's very powerful, because it's where you really can feel what our organization is about and the impact that we have on these young people's lives. And for them to be able to stand there with the courage and share their story in front of 800 to 1,000 people, and have that courage. There are a lot of adults who have fear of talking in front to 10 people. So, so we're very proud of each one of those individuals. And then what happens is there's a winner who then represents Chicago, and then they go on to the state level competition and on to the regional, because Boys and Girls Clubs of Chicago, we're also part of bigger. We're part of Boys and Girls Clubs of America. So we have clubs all over the world, actually. but Chicago is, this is our hub, and where we try to do our best.
That's fantastic. Many people may know this, and many people may not know this, but in terms of the national impact or other cities, one of the best actors of all time, Denzel Washington, is I'll say for lack of, he's a huge ambassador of the Boys and Girls Clubs, and he talks about it. He uses the word safe haven as a descriptor of what he found as being a part of it as he was growing up. So, it just goes to show the reach that an organization like that can have.
Yeah. Well, Richard, I had the wonderful opportunity, as I was telling you about the advancement stages. 2 years back, maybe 8 years ago, one of my young persons, her name was Cynthia. She was actually the winner of Chicago, and she went on and won the regional and went on to the national competition. So she was out in Washington, D.C., where I had the opportunity to go out there to be, as a support system. And, all of Boys and Girls Club's famous alumni members were there, and Denzel Washington was there, and I had the opportunity. So I always thank my young person for giving me a blessing. So
that's a perfect example. That's a perfect example of the phrase, spiritual phrase, and a child shall lead them. You got to see, all these other folks, and of course, one of the great alumni of the Boys and Girls Club. Your wide range of help and support is legendary as an organization, and you right here in Chicago have been doing such a wonderful job. And I love what you said earlier about the partnership with Blessings in a Backpack. And, I say this as humbly as I can. I'm so proud of what you guys do because of the way in which you take it upon you every day to make sure that our children are fed. I mean, it's a simple thing. It's a basic thing. It may not always be the easiest thing in the world, but I think that from what you guys have both said to me, the smiles and the energy that you get back from the children is so empowering. So, George, thank you for your hard work and your dedication and your commitment. It's really appreciated. How can people find you, and if they want to get involved with your specific club?
Yes, absolutely. Well, if you our website for the organization is www.bgcc.org, and you can also navigate that and find our local club, as well as if you wanted to check on all of our locations. And we are the Pedersen-McCormick Club. We're located in Uptown. You can reach me if you want to email me. You can email me at gcolone@bgcc.org, or you can call at 773-271-8400. We always looking forward to folks who want to get involved and support our organization, I look forward to all of the support at my club, but we have other clubs in Chicago that also needs help. So I encourage everyone, please get involved and support the Boys and Girls Clubs of Chicago, as well as Blessings in the Backpack. We both need your support.
And with that being said, Dan, I'm going to let you run anchor in the fourth leg of this race, and just remind people again about Blessings, what you're doing, and how they can get involved with the organization.
Thanks, Richard. And I just want to say on behalf of, he's being really humble. He does an amazing job. I've witnessed it. They're there regularly feeding the kids. He is a real gem in Chicago and somebody I admire in our, in the nonprofit area. So don't let him be humble. He's doing an amazing job. If someone's interested in supporting Blessings in a Backpack, we work with corporate partners that do employee engagement events, packing events, where we pack food and we'll deliver it. We'll have come to your office and you can pack that food. We'll deliver it to a local school. The best way to reach me is at my email is chicago@blessingsinAbackpack.org. chicago@blessingsinAbackpack.org.
Dan, I got to share this with you real quick. I just got a message from a gentleman in Sanford, in the Bay Area, that says, Richard, I'm going to give you the edited version. We do not have a Blessings in a Backpack out here in the Bay Area that I'm aware of. How can I get involved or find out where the nearest one is? Because we desperately need this in our community. So The gentleman's name is Bob. He's out in California, or Bay Area, more specifically San Jose. Any quick words or quick thoughts of where he can potentially go that's nearby, maybe in Oakland or something?
You know, I'm humble. I'm only here in the Chicago area, but if you go to our national website, which is blessingsinthebackpack.org, there's a way to find that. Bob, if you can't find somebody, email me at Chicago to blessingsinthebackpack.org, and I'll get you connected. But you can go to our national website. That's got a good finder for the local programs, or I'll help you personally.
Fantastic. And Bob, you can email me. You got my email, richard@wcpt820.com, and I'll get that passed on to Dan. Guys, thank you so much for being with us this morning. Thanks for the hard work that you do and the commitment and bringing smiles to so many people's faces. That's it's a blessing to have you guys do the work that you're doing. So thanks for hanging out with us this morning, and we will talk to you soon.
Richard, thanks so much.
All right. Talk to you guys soon. Be well.
All right.
Let's take a quick break, guys. 773-763-9278 is the number. You're listening to Choose Views on WCPT AM 820 in Chicago and WARR 1520 AM and 103.5 FM from Warren County, North Carolina. I'm Richard Chu. When we come back, we'll be talking with our good friend Kurt Mullett from Hoosier Blue 63. We'll be right back.
I know that hiring can be challenging. You sort through tons of resumes and you get too many so-so applicants. You're just waiting for someone to match your role perfectly. Well, now there's a place where you can meet them fast. ZipRecruiter.
Need to hire right away. Start your search for strong candidates. The right fit awaits. Build your team. Build it sooner. Meet your match on ZipRecruiter.
Just head to ZipRecruiter.com/free right now to try it for free. And you're on your way to meeting your match. 4 out of 5 employers who post on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate within the first day. So try it now. Go to ZipRecruiter.com/free. Once again, that's ZipRecruiter.com/free.
Meet your match on ZipRecruiter. Try it free.
Check up on health with Chris Whitting.
These days, everyone's motto seems to be, "In sunscreen we trust." But Sonia Lunder from the Environmental Working Group says, believe it or not, there's actually no medical consensus on whether sunscreens prevent skin cancer.
Yeah, that may be a surprise for a lot of people to learn. We know sunscreen will prevent you from sunburn, and that's what it was really designed to do. But there are other types of sun damage that sunscreen isn't as effective at blocking, and I think people really don't understand that.
She also says there's some evidence that sunscreens might actually increase the risk of the deadliest form of skin cancer for some people.
Yes, and that's melanoma, and that is because by not burning, you would actually stay out in the sun longer than you might if you weren't wearing sunscreen at all. If you get a sunburn, you know you blew it and are more likely to cover up or go inside.
With Checkup on Health, I'm Chris Whitting.
Amazon Business empowers leaders with smart business buying tools, leaving time to focus on strategy and growth. Free up your teams and focus on your future at amazonbusiness.com.
AP News, I'm Marcela Sanchez. Iran has received a 15-point ceasefire proposal from the U.S. delivered through intermediaries from Pakistan. The proposal was sent even as Washington began moving paratroopers to the Middle East to support Marines already heading to the region. Iran's military scoffed at the diplomatic efforts and launched more attacks today on Israel and the Persian Gulf region, including an assault that sparked a huge fire at Kuwait International Airport. Federal investigators say one of only 2 air traffic controllers on duty at LaGuardia Airport in New York cleared a fire truck to cross a runway just 12 seconds before an Air Canada flight touched down. That left little time to avoid Sunday night's collision that killed both pilots. The National Transportation Safety Board is now working to determine which of the airport's many layers of safety precautions failed and allowed the fire truck onto the runway. Florida Democrats have won a special election on President Trump's turf. AP correspondent Donna Warder has more.
Florida Democrat Emily Gregory has won a special election for the state legislature, flipping the district that's home to President Donald Trump's Mar-a-Lago. Trump had endorsed Gregory's rival, John Maples, telling voters Maples was backed by so many of my Palm Beach County friends. Heather Williams, president of the Democratic Legislative Campaign Committee, says if Mar-a-Lago is vulnerable, imagine what's possible this November. Williams says Tuesday's race is the 29th seat Democrats have flipped from Republican control since Trump took office. Trump voted in Tuesday's election by mail, but publicly bashes the voting method, calling it a source of voter fraud. I'm Donna Warder.
More stories at apnews.com. This is AP News. OpenAI, the company behind ChatGPT, is pulling the plug on Sora, the AI video app that went viral when it was released last September. The AP's Jennifer King has more.
In a social media message, the company said it was saying goodbye to the Sora app and that it would soon share more about how to preserve what users had already created. Sora allowed users to use artificial intelligence to turn text prompts into videos and share them. It was meant as an attention getter in the style of TikTok or Instagram, but also raised alarms amid a proliferation of deepfakes and AI slop. After outcries from family estates and actors' unions, the company had to crack down on outlandish AI creations featuring public figures like Martin Luther King Jr., Michael Jackson, and Breaking Bad actor Bryan Cranston. Disney, which cut a collab deal to bring its characters to Sora, said it respects OpenAI's decision to exit the video generation business and to shift its priorities elsewhere. I'm Jennifer King.
And I'm Marcela Sanchez, AP News.
This is 8:20 a.m. WCPT Willow Springs and streaming worldwide at WCPT820.com. We are Chicago's progressive talk, where facts matter. Now your WCPT 820 weather update.
From the Weatherology Weather Center, I'm meteorologist Jennifer Wojcicki. Skies will become mostly sunny here for today with a high into the lower 70s. We'll have southwest winds of 5 to 15 miles per hour, gusting as high as 30. And then for tonight, a slight chance for some showers and thunderstorms. Cloudy skies with a low around 55. Thursday, a chance for showers and storms here late. Partial sunshine develops high of 79 degrees. That's your latest Chicago weather update. Currently, it's 45.
Progressive's accident response can detect and send help when you need it most, after a major car accident. But other accidents, you're on your own. Like when you accidentally call your wife Mom. When you accidentally say Happy Holidays on someone's birthday. When you accidentally wave at someone you thought was waving at you. We can't help with those accidents, but Progressive's accident response provides peace of mind after major car accidents. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates. Limited availability in California. Driver is responsible for emergency and towing charges not covered by the policy.
Chicago's progressive talk, WCPT 820, where facts matter.
You're listening to Choose Views with Richard Chew.
Hey guys, welcome back to the show. Today on Live, Local, and Progressive, Joan Esposito will be taking your calls and talking to Chris Burry, senior journalist in residence at DePaul University, David DeWitt, Ohio Capital Journal editor-in-chief and opinion columnist, Read Bible, retired special agent and supervisory special agent for the Chicago and San Diego districts of ICE, and retired attorney. That's a mouthful. Live, Local, and Progressive weekdays 2 to 5 here on WCPT, AM 820, and HeartlandSignal.com, as well as TuneIn. Tonight on Driving It Home, Patty Vasquez will be talking to Shasti Conrad, chair of the Washington State Democratic Party. She is the first woman of color and the youngest person to lead the Washington Democrats, and the first South Asian woman to lead a state party in the entire country. Kurt will certainly be impressed to hear that there's a young person like that leading the Democratic Party out in Washington. At 6 o'clock, she'll join the Up North podcast with Minocqua Brewing Company and contributors Kirk Bangstead, Ben Kamenos, Amy Thomas, and more. That's Driving It Home with Patty Vasquez, weekdays 5 to 7 here on WCPT, Heartland Signal, website, TuneIn, YouTube, and Facebook. And then tomorrow on Choose Views, I'll be talking to Ryan Nunn, Director of Research at Yale University's Budget Lab, Dr. Anthony Douglas, trauma surgeon at the University of Chicago Hospital, and the leader of RIFL, the Responsibility in Firearms Legislation, and Shaughnessy Naughton, you guys remember, is the president of 314 Action, the only organization in the nation focused on recruiting, training, and electing Democrats with a background in science to public office. As I said, smart people. Got a smart person with us this morning. He may not want to take that compliment, but I'm going to give it to him yet the same. And it's Wednesday, y'all. So our good friend Kurt Mullett from Hoosier Blue 63, another smart dude, hanging out with us this morning. Good morning, Kurt, and welcome to the show.
Hey, good morning, Richard. Thanks for having me. And I don't consider myself a smart person, just a dude with some common sense.
Well,
that's the way I like to look at it.
Listen, you are smart enough to understand that it's probably a good idea to lean into one's common sense. So that's it right there.
Absolutely.
And book learning that doesn't make you smart, because look at all the book learned idiots that we have. Frankly, on both sides of the political aisle and in the middle, and young and old. Yeah. We that premise doesn't escape anyone. But thank God for those of us who are not only trying to use our common sense, but encourage more people to use theirs. So good to see you, my friend. Glad you're doing well. Love you got your dark yarn hat on.
Absolutely.
So listen, I sent you a few things. We talked about a few things online, but you may have heard me talking a little bit about Marionette Miller Meeks, who is the Republican member of the House of Representatives from Iowa. And all this money that she's taking from insurance companies while hypocritically blocking and opposing ACA tax credit extensions and subsidies. This is a perfect example of the hypocrisy of those on the right. You and I can get after our folks on the left all day long about things we want to see them do better. That's us trying to make our team stronger by adding younger folks to the team, adding younger messaging. Doesn't have to be someone chronologically younger, but all those things that you are working so hard. And by the way, we got to get Blythe Potter back on the show. But I know she's got her election coming up. But the point I'm making is we can do all that, and we should, to make our team better. It's making our team better and stronger and built for the future, as you said so many times. But we got to get rid of it.
Yeah, absolutely. I think it's important to call out hypocrisy on both sides right now. And it does seem to be running more rampant on the right side than it is on the left. But we need to recognize it and call it out, regardless, who is guilty of it, because there is a change happening in the political scene in our country, and people need to recognize this. And it's going to be something that's hard for a lot of people to accept, because people don't like change. Yeah. People like the way things to stay status quo, and they don't accept change very easily, but it's happening. There's no denying it. It's not an overnight thing, but it is slowly happening. And one of the things that the generations that I associate with a lot now, the Gen Zers and the millennials, is getting money out of politics. They see what it has done, not only to the political scene and to our candidates and our representatives, but to our country. I was reading an article last night about the deficit in our country and where we are right now, and it's astounding, the massive. And I can't remember the term that was used, where we are at right now, as according to our debt, according to the GDP and what have you. But it's clear, it's quite clear.
Yeah, the reason that this Marionette Miller Meeks situation is one that I've really been highlighting and talking about today, is because of, again, going back to this conversation around hypocrisy. It's on the left and the right. We know that, and I'm not one to go both sides do it. Because I can drill down really deep on people that want to go, the left sucks and they're just as bad as the right, and I can build a legendary case to show that that's not accurate all the time, and and it can be a waste of time to constantly be picking on your own team. That's evidentiary when it comes to any successful business or organization. And Lavora Barnes talked a little bit about that yesterday. It doesn't stop us from making sure our team is strong and that our team is moving forward. And we're putting new logs on, the younger minds and younger voices. All of that's true. But right now, on a federal level, the biggest opponents in every category are Republicans. On a state level, the same thing. And you see this right there in Indiana. I know that our other Kurt in Ohio sees it as well. And then here we've got this woman that's blocking ACA benefits for people that need them in her state. And I asked Lavora about this yesterday in Michigan. Meanwhile, she's taking money from the same industries that are looking to harm the people in that state. This is where we have to be willing to, I guess is kind of the phrase that's used oftentimes, is walk and chew gum when it comes to how we go about these things. So I applaud some of the work that you've been doing with some of these younger candidates and some of the younger people you've been talking to. And I got to ask you this question because I don't want to forget this. Reintroduce to our audience all over the country a woman that you've been working with. You mentioned her name a couple times, and we got busy and we didn't get a chance to talk in more depth about her. And I was talking about the woman in Oregon that's, I'm sorry, oh my gosh, I just drew a blank. That's now the new head of, oh gosh, I'm drawing a blank, guys, and I'm looking at the paper. That's going to be one of the guests with Patty, Shasty Conrad, the new Washington State Democratic Party head. You've got a person in California that I wanted to talk with you about, Shanique Williams.
Shanique Williams, yeah.
You mentioned her name before. We just haven't had a chance to talk about her. Talk a little bit about her as one of those people that's not compromised, one of those people that isn't playing the hypocrisy game, and what she's doing to really kind of take the lead in some of the California politics.
Yeah, absolutely. Thanks for bringing her name up. And just to touch base on what you were talking about earlier, this is how Republicans have been. You know, look at how many of the policies that they voted against with Joe Biden and then took credit. You know, they stood in front of signs that said, look at the construction that's going on. Well, wait a minute. Didn't you vote against this bill? So that, you know,
thanks for reminding us of that. I completely forgot about that stuff too, man.
I mean, Marjorie Taylor Greene did it, you know, down there in Georgia. and, you know, and hey, shout out to Sean Harris, man. I watched a video of him yesterday going to a speech, and there was a long line.
Did you
see? This dude ran all the way
down the line. Yes.
And shook
everybody's
through
hand.
The whole line. I mean, come on. That dude.
Yeah,
I love
know.
him. He's great.
I do too. I said this the other day. I'm sending out that universal prayer that he wins this election.
I think he does. He destroyed his opponent in that.
Did you see that Clay Fuller tap dancing around a simple question about what you're going to do for Northwestern Georgians, and then he goes and he basically sticks his head up Trump's behind and says, Donald Trump, Donald Trump, Donald Trump, Donald.
Yeah. Yeah.
No, sorry.
Sean just nailed it. Yeah, we got off track a little bit there.
Sorry. But, Shanique Williams.
Shanique Williams, she's running for CD 41 in California. And I was brought together, we were joined by a woman named Jen Johansson, who is with the reality, Reasoned Reality, who is part of the Dark Yarn. And
right.
Shanique is a 34-year-old black woman who grew up in Riverside, where all this controversy now with this sheriff is going on. She had a life experience that is sad, that it's the same that a lot of black women have experienced in their lifetime. Abuse, racism, just... goes on down the line. But anyway, I invited her on my podcast, and first off, we talked on the phone one night for over 2.5 hours. It was amazing to me how we just immediately clicked and were able to carry on a conversation. And people need to look at the optics here. We have a 34-year-old black woman from Riverside, California, who didn't know what the word Hoosier meant, which is fine. Okay. And a 62-year-old white dude from rural Indiana getting together to discuss the issues in our country right now. And, I was so proud and honored to be able to share the mic with her on this. And I hope people go to my podcast and check it out. But you can also find it on my socials. But anyway, Shanique Williams, look her up. Shonique for Congress is her website. She is just, you want to talk about someone who is not going to back down. She's educated. She's on the verge of getting her law degree. She's an advocate. She works with people in prison. She's shared many stories with me on the discrimination that is faced, that Black women face in this country that I was never aware of. She introduced me to the phrase, skin folk don't mean kinfolk, which, Richard, I'd never heard that phrase before. So it was, it was just, I mean, I came out of those conversations a better man. I mean,
yeah, it's an enlightening experience, and it's a good experience. Listen, she's right, and particularly Black folks have been saying this for a long, long time. Skin folks ain't necessarily, kin folks ain't, why am I botching it this morning? Oh, Lord have mercy.
Because you got a white dude talking about, saying stuff like that.
But the heartbeat of that phrase is that, you don't always pick your family, but you can pick your friends and who you associate with.
Yeah.
Doesn't mean you don't love your family. Doesn't mean you don't care about your family. But sometimes you got to put your family on pause until they get their heads right.
But it's a phrase I could use too.
Yeah, right.
Kinfolk don't mean kinfolk just because you're,
Right.
I mean, that's quite obvious.
Yeah, right.
But so I want to get her information to you because I think she's someone you need to talk to.
Well, we will
have on because she's
let's do that. We will try to book her.
Yeah, she's amazing. She absolutely is amazing.
One of our producers just sent me a reminder that we have to get her on the show, so we will do that.
Absolutely,
and make that happen.
Yeah, I'll get her information to you.
Perfect.
I'll send it to you.
You're listening to Choose Views on WCPT AM 820 in Chicago and WARR 1520 AM and 103.5 FM from Warren County, North Carolina. I'm Richard Chu. We're talking with our great friend Kurt Mullett from Hoosier Blue 63 about just him spreading his wings and reaching out and talking to people and helping this thing that we're all trying to push forward and making things better. It was really an honor for me to talk with the guys from Blessing in a Backpack earlier. I don't draw down on them to talk about politics, but they're smart guys. They know how they've been impacted by, and I know I keep coming back to this Miller Meeks thing, the hypocrisies and what they're dealing with. And George very briefly, subtly talked about the federal funding that's been pulled away and redirected from them. And organizations like them. But guys like that, I'm so honored to be able to have on the show every, number of weeks because they're doing stuff. You talk about boots on the ground, and I know that's a military term, but they're right there making sure that our young folks are taken care of, that they're being looked after, that they're fed. I mean, you raised a daughter, you know what it's like to struggle and go through the ups and downs. But your number one course of business was to make sure she was fed and ready to go to school and in the best mindset that she could be in. So guys like Dan and guys like George are making a difference in this crazy world that we're in right now.
Yeah, and it's such a disconnect that so much of the population has in this country of people who struggle to actually, put food on their table on a daily basis, or that we, the thought that kids go hungry in this country is just, I can't wrap my head around that.
Yeah.
Why? There is no reason for it to be occurring. And you look at the waste that not only this regime, but our government has done over the years on spending money. And, they want to talk about SNAP and all of these programs that are bankrupting our country, and that's not what's doing it. That's not doing it whatsoever. It's not holding corporates and the billionaires accountable for their fair share of taxes to be paid, or making sure that they follow regulations, and that if they violate green laws or what have you, that they pay penalties. All of that's been removed. You know, our governor in Indiana just signed a bill where they're no longer going to be tracking child labor. They're not going to worry about it.
Yeah.
So companies can have 13, 14-year-old kids work. They're not going to worry or track. Why would you do that? Why would you not be concerned about how late a 14-year-old is working, or how many hours a 14-year-old working, or what kind of job a 14? Indiana's no longer going to be tracking that.
Yeah.
Why? I mean, we want to hold kids and underprivileged individuals in this country responsible for all of our problems when it's right there in our face what the problems are in this country, and we just refuse to do that. And that's goes back to the money thing and all of this stuff, just like you were talking about with the lady from Iowa.
Yeah.
I mean, we want to, you know, we want to support the billionaires and the corporates and put the blame on everyone who's a little less fortunate than the rest of us, or a lot less fortunate.
How hypocritical is it, Kurt, when we look at something like you just described? We're talking about Indiana, and we could lay this into so many other parts of the country. They want to take away a thing that's going to allow our children to be in a better way. Listen, you and I both had jobs when we were young. We loved the idea of going out and making our own money and doing our own thing. Taught us independence, responsibility, all those things. We loved that. But then, you know, let's get that lesson. Let's study. Right. Let's take care of the things we got to take care of, and to now have leaders, not even leaders, have people that are in office saying, well, you know, we aren't really going to care about taking care of the children that we say we love so much, and that we want to have women just continue to keep kicking out and birthing, but we're not going to care for them when they're here. And then you juxtapose that or mirror that up against our folks want $200 billion more to go and kill more babies in Iran. At the end of the day, that's what's happening. And then don't complain about that because you're not a patriot if you're not looking to defend our democracy. Well, hold up, player. How about defending it right here with taking care of our children that need to be cared for first? And I'm not saying anything against supporting efforts in other parts of the world, but damn, let's take care of the folks. And this dude ran on America first, right? But it ain't happening.
Yeah, but it was all a lie. He's a big lie. I mean, you know, it's just like the war in Iran. We're all focused on Iran and what's happening there, but nobody's paying attention what Israel's doing to Lebanon.
Nope.
Yeah, it's not in the news what's going on there. So why is that happening? What's the deal going on there? Is it all because of this view of what the Israel state should become, going into, you know, gaining all this territory and its biblical, you know?
Right. Yeah, deep breath, woosah moment, brother, woosah moment. I want to wrap up with one thing that regarding something that you posted and that we all have talked about, and I mentioned it at the beginning of the week. You said he did the work. It was there. The evidence was overwhelming. Rest in peace, Robert Mueller. He did do the work, and the evidence was there, and it got slapped down by Bill Barr and all the rest when we're talking about Russia, and election interference in Trump 2.1 or whatever, 1.0.
Right.
And whether I'm down with, I'll just say this and I'll shut up so you can wrap this up. It was utterly disgusting for Donald Trump to say what he said about Robert Mueller. And you posted some great stuff this week about that, and I just want to applaud you in terms of posting a memoriam or in memoriam of Robert Mueller. That was cool, and that was how dignified you are as a dude. So thank you for that.
Oh, hey, it was a no-brainer to me. I mean, and I appreciate your compliment and what you just said, but I don't know, Richard. I mean, every day this dude, he just proves who he is. And one thing that I have learned and come to realize, and maybe more so in the last couple weeks than ever before, it doesn't matter what he does to MAGA. He can do whatever he wants. They don't care what kind of corruption is behind him. They don't care what kind of racism or hate. They don't care about the Epstein files. They don't care about nothing. What he tweets, what he posts out, they just simply do not care. Because as long as he's hurting the libs and minorities in this country and he's promoting white supremacy, they don't care.
Nope.
And it's a harsh reality that we have to accept. And it's scary. And you know, we'll get to talk about this later, I hope. But it's scary what ICE is doing at the airports right now, and what I think
that's headed.
That's headed in the elections, because they're not there to help the TSA agents. They're stalking the corridors of airports looking for brown people.
Yep, they are.
And if you think that they're not going to do this in our elections, you're fooling yourself, and people need to wake up, because this is where this is all headed. So I don't know how we cut this off at the pass. Or
I'm going to talk to Qasim Rashid in a little bit about that in terms of what this election, the midterms, the primaries just should be pointing out to us in terms of the money, in terms of where the money's coming from, et cetera, after the primaries.
And they know this.
Uh-huh.
They know this. Just look at Emily Gregory, what she did last night.
Yep, I know. Isn't that great? Right in his own backyard. I mean, right in his own, as
right
it should
in
be.
his district.
And again, Kurt, he picked another loser. He picked another loser. Once again.
But I think that's because people are realizing they're all losers. Anyone he associates with is a loser.
Yeah.
And people are not going to vote that direction. And they know this. So guarantee you, because that's what the SAVE Act is all about. That's what all of this is about. And us seeing ICE agents in the airport, that's scary.
Yeah, it is. And it's only going to get worse or more intense as we go along. Listen,
they
man.
They don't know how to check tickets. And,
no, they're going to get it wrong. And
Come
the
on.
minute they see somebody with a... Sorry.
Brown.
Thank God you and I aren't flying anywhere together, because there would be some hell started. Made you laugh, brother, as we wrap up today, man. Thanks for hanging out with us today. Kurt Mullett.
Thanks for having me, man.
From Hoosier Blue 63. Check out all the work that he's doing. He is a leader and leading voice in this fight that we're in right now, so you need to get with Kurt Mullett of Hoosier Blue 63. Listen, man, we'll talk to you next Wednesday.
All right. Take care, Richard. Have a great conversation.
All right, man. Be well. Talk to you next week.
All right, bye-bye.
Bye-bye. Let's run this quick commercial on them, guys. 773-763-9278 is the number. You're listening to Choose Views on WCPT AM 820 in Chicago and WARR 1520 AM and 103.5 FM from Warren County, North Carolina. When we come back, I think that Qasim Rashid might have a few things to say about a few things, and I'm looking forward to chatting with my brother to see how he's been. We'll be right back.
This is WCPT telling you how you can shop blue. Did you know there are only 49 states in America that require you to have car insurance? At Chicago's Progressive Talk, we're in Illinois, and Illinois is one of the 49 states that require you to have car insurance. Let's look at some car insurance companies that support the Democratic Party. American Family Insurance. American Family Insurance was once very conservative, but since 2019, they have moved to the left, donating $214,000 to Democrats. In 2024, AAA. AAA was also once very conservative, but in 2014, they shifted to the left, donating $235,000 to Democrats in 2024. 83% of their donations went to Democrats. Liberty Mutual. Now, Liberty Mutual leans to the left, and yes, they did donate $1.6 million to Democrats in 2024. That was only 64% of their donations. Progressive Insurance. Progressive does not give to politics, but some of their senior leaders do, and their senior leaders lean left. This has been WCPT telling you how you can shop blue.
Turn your tax refund into a new landscape with Menards. Make this the year you check that project off the list. Create stunning patios and build strong retaining walls with our huge in-stock selection of beautiful concrete blocks ready to take home today. Plus, easily build and design your own raised garden beds with our garden block. On sale now. Check out our weekly flyer and start saving on landscape blocks. Now at Menards.
Save big money at Menards.
Do you hear that?
Asthma triggers are everywhere, from dust mites, pet dander, and pollen, to smog and smoke. An asthma attack can strike anywhere, anytime. Be prepared with quick-acting Primatene Mist. Clinically proven to open airways quickly. It's the #1 FDA-approved asthma inhaler available over the counter. Primatene Mist. Breathe easy again. Use as directed.
Sponsored by Armstrong Pharmaceuticals.
If you want your children to read, remember, the special ingredient is you. Spend time with your family, building bonds through reading. Those stories, those memories will last forever.
This message brought to you by the National Association of Broadcasters and this station.
My name is Ruth Rusi. I volunteer with United Way, reading to children to help prepare them for a better academic future. I don't just wear the shirt, I live it.
Give, advocate, volunteer. Live United. Go to liveunited.org. Brought to you by United Way and Ad Council.
You're listening to WCPT 820. Here's the latest Chicago weather update.
From the Weatherology Weather Center, I'm meteorologist Jennifer Wojcicki. Skies will become mostly sunny here for today with a high into the lower 70s. We'll have southwest winds of 5 to 15 miles per hour, gusting as high as 30. And then for tonight, a slight chance for some showers and thunderstorms. Cloudy skies with a low around 55. Thursday, a chance for showers and storms here late. Partial sunshine develops, high of 79 degrees. That's your latest Chicago weather update.
Currently, it's 43.
Because facts matter. You're listening to WCPT 820.
Welcome back to Choose Views with Richard Chew.
Hey guys, welcome back to the show. Thanks to Kurt Mullett from Hoosier Blue 63 for hanging out with us this morning. Always great to talk with him, and also the guys, Dan Summins, Managing Director of Blessings in the Backpack here in Chicago, and George Colone, who is the City Director for the Boys and Girls Club up in Northside Chicago. Human rights lawyer, author, dad, funny dude, brings a sledgehammer to the fight. Host of the SiriusXM show. Let's subscribe. Let's address this. Got to get a subscription to my man's work. Good morning, Qasim Rashid. Welcome to Choose Views.
Good to hear your voice.
You too, man. That sigh of exasperation wasn't toward you. I know you know that.
I hear you.
That was one that I just like. I know where to start, but I don't know where to start. And at the same time, I know that you and I have been saying a lot about a lot of things for a while in terms of what we got to do better. And we should start a new chant, and it should be "Let's abolish ICE. Let's abolish ICE." Not maybe we reduce the funding, or maybe we train them better, or any of that garbage. I saw a few weeks ago you did a segment with the guy, and you talked about, no, we don't need to train them up better. And a perfect example of what this means, at least in my eyes, and help us out with this, is that now untrained people who were not trained in the first place, irrespective of how well they were trained, to deal with working with folks in local communities, weren't trained at all based on the fact that 2 people were assassinated. Really more than that, but 2 that we got to witness. So let me keep myself right and correct me here. They weren't trained for that because clearly they failed. Now they're going to stand over the shoulder of a black woman sitting at a terminal trying to get people through the airport. And he does this, the dude standing behind her. What an image. A black woman sitting at her desk doing her work, and a white guy that doesn't know what the hell he's doing standing over her like he knows what the hell he's doing. So we don't need to retrain them or train them up. We need to abolish them.
Yeah.
Baton to you, second leg. You got it.
This is, I think, kind of every MAGA accusation is a confession. That this is kind of an exemplification of that. This, Trump regime started his presidency last year on this, Department of Government Efficiency, this DOGE efficiency, taking a sledgehammer to every, basically efficient government system that there was. And we've seen the devastation. The gutting of U.S. aid, experts estimate, has already killed 700,000 innocent people, many of them children. It's going to go to 14 million by 2030 if these funding cuts aren't reversed. We're seeing the devastation. The Department of Transportation, Sean Duffy, should be not just fired, but prosecuted and in prison for the number of accidents that have been caused. We're seeing the so-called Department of War waging these reckless wars in Iran, killing up to 2,000 civilians from last I've heard. They've destroyed over 80,000 civilian infrastructures. And the list just goes on. And so now, watching how they're taking these ICE fascists and saying, go stand at the airports and create even more chaos over there under the guise of efficiency, it's just another example of trying to disrupt our basic standard of living and normalize this extremism. And my only message to my fellow Americans is, don't let this be normalized.
No.
Do not consider this to be okay. And this is not a left versus right issue. This is a human dignity issue. We cannot let this be normalized.
Qasim, you and I could be, you, me, and Kurt could be traveling somewhere, anywhere let's take a trip to D.C. from Chicago.
I'm down.
And the three of us could be in an airport, and we're all progressive, liberal Democrats, wherever we fit on that scale.
Yeah.
But we could be standing next to a family of stone cold Republicans. Guess what? The problem at the airport is affecting all of us.
Yeah.
So it is no political stripe that it's designed to or accidentally or incidentally impacting. Just pay these folks and let's move on. It's not like, here's the thing, this is as well, if not better than most. It's not like the money's not there.
No.
Talk about that for a minute. In terms of the money is there, they're just using this as a tool, a wedge. Go.
The money is there, and that's where I want people to understand that this is not a scarcity issue. This is not a, how do we find the funds? The funds are there. This is, I think, a combination of two things. Republicans who in power, who seem to think that by targeting immigrants and undocumented immigrants, they're making our communities safer. They're not. We're here in Chicago. The DHS data in Chicago and the ICE raids show that 97.4% of the people that they picked up had no criminal record whatsoever. 97.4%. It's absurd. And then we have Democrats, corporate Democrats like Chuck Schumer and Hakeem Jeffries, who seem to think that their argument that ICE should be treated just like every other police agency is a winning argument.
Nope.
Ignoring that law enforcement in and of itself right now kills about 2,000 Americans a year. And that's what I mean. Don't let that be normalized. And so you have two very bad arguments. One argument saying that, well, we need you to release this funding so that ICE can go and terrorize civilians. And Democrats are saying, no, we don't want them to terrorize all civilians. We just want them to terrorize civilians the way law enforcement already does, killing 2,000 people. It's two very bad arguments.
Yeah.
And meanwhile, TSA is being gutted. Our Department of Transportation is being gutted, and we're all suffering. I've already canceled several flights because I'm like, I just don't want to deal with this. So it's devastating our economy because I'm not the only one. There's countless people who are canceling their flights right now. And until and unless we get to a place of justice and separate law enforcement from public safety and recognize that law enforcement and public safety are not the same thing. Every study and fact shows that they are not the same thing. Law enforcement, if anything, responds to crime in certain situations. But public safety comes from investing in economic justice, making sure that schools are funded, people have healthcare access, that public transport is available, that there's violence intervention programs. That's what public safety is. So if you want safer communities, you have to invest in people, not in punishments. And right now, corporate Democrats and Republicans are so invested in punishments, they're missing that the vast majority of Americans out there are looking at them like, you both are insane. Where is the adult in the room right now? Because we don't see it.
And the challenge that is in front of us, to your point about safety, is there. How do I want to put this? I have said this for a long time, and you said it in your way, versions of it. Yeah. If we want to protect and preserve and serve and grow, we can do it in advance. It can be part of our business plan as a society. It could be part of how we go, let's be aspirational about these things and how we can make things great for people and provide these wonderful services and tools. And I keep going back to Dan from Blessings in a Backpack here in Chicago and the work that he's doing and George, because they're trying to catch this at the beginning. They want to make sure kids go home not hungry on the weekends. Okay, let's throw a whole bunch of money at that, because guess what the outcome will probably be? The kids are feeling good at home. They get to have a good weekend, maybe share some of their snacks with their siblings, whatever. But we're building our foundation from a non-punishment standpoint and making people feel good and putting our vast resources. So one of our biggest tools of defense, I say it all the time. I know people probably get crazy because I say it. If we start with that and we make sure that people's lives are safe and they can move forward, then we don't have to have this other craziness. And so, I preach about this a lot because I look at the numbers just like you do. I mean, let me laundry list this really quickly, and Qasim, you can talk about this. $10 billion to the border peace, $12 billion on an illegal war in Iran, $38 billion to Israel to commit genocide, $40 billion to Argentinian farmers, $75 billion to ICE fascists, $134 billion in tariffs stolen from small businesses, $200 more billion to bomb Iran. Come on, y'all.
Yeah, that looks familiar. I talked about that yesterday, and you add to that $1 trillion in cuts to Medicaid, $2.1 trillion in tax cuts to billionaires. That was paid for by the cuts to Medicaid.
Right.
And
it's not a lack of resources. Sorry, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Yes. No, you're right. You're right. I mean, you nailed it. You've already said it so beautifully. It's not a lack of resources. It's an excess in greed. And this manifests in so many different ways. You probably saw the story yesterday. A New Mexico jury has ruled that Meta deliberately is harming the mental health of children, deliberately exploiting children. And they're fining Meta $375 million. And
that's a drop in the bucket.
Less than a drop in the bucket. They are worth $1.6 trillion. I looked this up. Their effective tax rate last year was so insultingly low. It was 3.5% on $79 billion in revenue last year. Just to put in perspective, $375 million from Meta is the equivalent of the median American worker paying a $14 fine. If somebody harmed your children and the jury said, hey, for harming your children, that person owes $14, you would be outraged. That is what's happening right now. And this goes back, I bring this up because this goes back to why people like Zuckerberg suck up to Trump, because they know that it gives them full amnesty effectively to do whatever the hell it is they want. And this is where I am extraordinarily critical of MAGA Republican politicians. I'm also critical of corporate Democrats. Hakeem Jeffries has blocked me on social media because I keep going after him for being just a feckless leader. And so I want people listening to understand that while you would probably describe me on the left, I promise you, I do not excuse incompetence and injustice by people who claim that they're on the left. My standard is justice. And what I want folks to understand here is that I don't care if you're conservative or liberal or progressive. You have to understand economic justice is something we all need. And the only way we get it is if we work together, look past these stupid culture wars that want us to blame immigrants or trans kids or the black kid who got into Harvard. It's all nonsense. It's all just a distraction from the reality that these billionaires are robbing you blind and trying to get you to blame the other poor sap just trying to get by as well.
They want you to say that Richard Chu, a black dude with a funny kind of sounding name, and Qasim Rashid, just a dude with a funny sounding name, brown skin cats are trying to make your life better or worse, when actually, the truth is we're the two cats that are trying to make everybody's lives better. And we don't need any medal for that or any of that garbage. We just believe it in our hearts that that's what's right for everybody. I want, just as much as you and I both have experienced this, where a person that doesn't look like us will criticize us for being how we are and how we look.
Yeah.
But at the same time, if that person is a conservative or rural white person that's struggling, I don't want to see that person struggling.
That's right.
And so
I don't either.
So to put the blame, and I make this pivot, guys who are listening, because I want you to understand that we have to criticize our team respectfully in a way that's effective, that gets things done, not just to criticize for the sake of criticizing. But at the end of the day, the people that are harming us the most are the people like Qasim just said, the Zuckerbergs of the world. And it's not every billionaire that's the one. It's some of the wealthy corporations that are just skating by, that they aren't paying the tax rate that they should be paying, proportionate and percentage-wise. And they're blocking legislation to benefit the people that may actually work for their organization and they're underpaid.
That's right.
How crazy!
That's right.
Did I connect a couple of the dots there?
You did. I mean, let's take Walmart for example. Right, they're paying their people $12-13 an hour, and the amount of corporate welfare that Walmart has, the amount of workers at Walmart who are also collecting food stamps and TANF and on Section 8 is astronomical. If Walmart simply paid their workers another $10 an hour and paid them $23 an hour, so they could make a $50,000 a year salary, which is manageable in most parts of the country, then their corporate profits would go from $40 billion a year down to only $20 billion a year. And you would have 1 million people lifted out of poverty. But because of their greed in demanding $40 billion instead of $20 billion, you have more than 1 million Americans suffering, living below the poverty line. And I want folks to understand that you can't just tell those people, go get a better job. Because the way Walmart functions in every community is like a cancer. It comes in, it puts rock bottom prices because they have volume, drive out all the small businesses, force them to close up shop, and becomes the only game in town. That's the only job you can get. And then they lower their wages to below poverty wages. You know, FDR, when he signed the minimum wage into law, he said explicitly clearly that no business that pays less than a living wage, because he said a minimum wage is a living wage. He says no business that pays less than a living wage has any right to do business in our country. By that logic, Walmart should be shut down for their illegal labor practices until they pay an actual living wage. This is why I shop at Costco. Because at Costco, they're paying at least $20 to $25 an hour. So I know that even though I'm paying a little bit more, my neighbors actually have a living wage. And guess what? They invest that money back into the local community.
I didn't want to take that one from you.
It's trickle up. It's actual trickle up economics, not this trickle down cultist nonsense that they keep selling us on.
I didn't want to take that one away from you because that's exactly right. When you were talking about if a corporation, we'll use Walmart because that's where we are, were to pay folks the right way, and they would see an initial reduction. Here's the thing. They would see an initial reduction in that investment that they've actually made in their people.
Yeah.
But then, because we're a consumer-based economy, and I haven't talked about this in a while, and I'm a financial advisor, and I get it, that investment in their people, which is then an investment in the community, means what? People are going to probably save more money. They're going to have less stress. They're going to be more on fire at work in a good way. And guess where they're going to spend that money, Qasim? They're going to spend it locally.
Yeah. That's right.
And it doesn't it crack you up sometimes? Do you sit back, rear back in your chair and go, how are these idiots running these companies? How could they not get it? And then then the default, and again, I don't want to put words in your mouth here, is that it's greed. Because if they actually understood that economic principle, they would be like, oh, hell yeah, we're going to pay them more money because they're going to spend it, they're going to use it, they're going to invest it all right here in our community. Yeah. Whether that's the south side of Chicago Walmart at 115th and the Bishop Ward, or if it's one in rural Arkansas. It's the same economics.
Exactly right. And the thing is, there's this mythology that's been sold that if you tax billionaires and take money away from them, then it's not going to incentivize them to work harder. And so we need to give them more money so that they work harder. But if you pay people a living wage or pay them higher, it's going to make them lazy. So whoever sold American society on this nonsense that paying poor people more makes them lazy, but giving billionaires more makes them work harder, Like, you guys, that's a cult mentality. It just makes no sense whatsoever. We need to drop that mentality altogether.
Without a doubt. Oh, Lord, you're listening to Choose Views on WCPT AM 820 in Chicago and WARR 1520 AM and 103.5 FM from Warren County, North Carolina. I'm Richard Chu. We're talking with Qasim Rashid, and the name is legendary. He's doing so much great work on social media, his podcast, his work on SiriusXM, and all the rest, his writing. So, all right. Last week we had primaries all over the country. We've had them. That's been going on, and particularly here in Illinois. And I love the article that you posted on your Substack. And I just want to hit the real quick piece about this, because here's what happened to me. I was watching something about a month ago, and I saw this ad that was just giving the business to Lieutenant Governor Juliana Stratton. I mean, and I'm like, I don't know if that's really true, because I know her, and I've known her for a minute, and I've interviewed her, and blah, blah, blah. And I'm not picking sides here. I'm just looking at some of the data. And I was like, I need to figure out who in the hell this Fair Shake is.
Yeah.
So I'm at my computer, I'm doing the deep dive, then I dug a little bit deeper, then I dug a little bit deeper, and I was like, hold on a second. These are some crypto boys that are flooding the market with advertising against a person who's doing a great job and will continue to do a great job. And we happen to have a loaded field in terms of the Senate race, as we did in many of the primaries. And some took some money from different groups, some didn't. We know all that. I don't need to dig a hole for whoever did. But the point is, to your article, we have to pay attention, because these outside organizations, meaning outside of Illinois and outside of wherever you are in the country, are loaded for bear with a whole bunch of money to try to they will disrupt our midterms, because we saw how much they dumped here in the Illinois primaries over the last 45 days or so. Talk a little bit about what we've got to be prepared for, because I read that they've got this one particular group, Fair Shake, through their crypto dollars, says somewhere in the range of $100 million.
Yeah, it's funny money. It's monopoly money to them. There's no limit. They'll spend whatever they need to spend. And they spent about $8 million attacking LG Juliana Stratton, soon to be Senator Stratton. And I wrote a piece a couple of weeks ago about why we need to be very careful about Raja Krishnamurthy. And I was grateful that piece went viral. It got over 3 million reads to it, which is pretty exciting as well. But folks had no idea. The number one comment I got was, I had no idea that Trump's main handlers were the ones funding him. I had no idea that he praised ICE, even as ICE was killing a record number of Americans last year. I had no idea that he called for more ICE involvement in our local communities last summer when they were just torturing and terrorizing us. I'm like, yeah, this is the problem with corporate media, that they are so worried about access journalism, they don't actually serve as a fourth estate to hold power and account. And this is the problem with things like Citizens United, where now you have unlimited spending and you don't need to disclose. You probably noticed AIPAC's investment, or bribery, if you want to call it that, in the primaries. They spent $22 million, and they're gloating about how successful they were. And what I just want to point out to folks is that they did not have success.
No.
Yes, they won 2 congressional seats out of like the 5 or 6 that they were in. They spent $22 million, but we know that they weren't successful. And here's how we know that. Because in the $22 million that they spent propping up their puppet candidates, they did not mention AIPAC or Israel or Gaza even once. Not a single time. They know that their brand is so toxic.
Spoiled milk.
And Americans, left, right, and center, are so fed up with their deceptive tactics that they couldn't even. They branded themselves to as Elect Chicago Women or the Chicago Progressive Caucus. It is deception through and through. And this is where I tell folks, don't lose hope. Don't despair. Because you speaking up is an act of resistance. Your refusal to capitulate is an act of resistance. It's pissing them off that they can't get away with it like they used to. We need to keep doubling down.
There's no question about that. And doubling down is the doubling down, the tripling down, the quadrupling down is what's going to be required. Now, this is not a pushback. This is how we navigate through this. Better ideas, better candidates are going to be what ultimately allow us to win these races across the country. And unfortunately, let's just call this as it is, because Lieutenant Governor Stratton had some money in the bank politically, she was able to offset what Fair Shake was doing. I mean, that's the ugly side of it is, she got hit for the thing that she kind of needed to do because outside money was coming at her relentlessly. That's going to be, I think that's the other part of your article that you touched on. Unfortunately, for us to get through this cycle, we're going to have to double down in our activity and our involvement in our No Kings Rally protest.
Yes.
And we're going to have to reach into our pockets a little bit deeper, unfortunately, to help support the candidates that we want to see win, because we know that these crypto boys are coming after them. That's the crazy irony right now, isn't it? Am I out of in left field on this, Qasim?
You're exactly right. And this is where we talk about the many over the money. We're not going to outspend these crypto boys, AI boys, these MAGA billion. We're not going to outspend them. But we don't need to. That's the key point. We don't need to. If you're listening and you're going to be going at the No Kings protest, I have one ask of you. Don't just go rah-rah protest and then come home empty-handed. Use this as an opportunity to organize. There's a free app. I'm not selling anything. There's a free app. It's called Sway, sway.co. You can download it on the App Store, on Google Play. And what Sway allows you to do is organize your local community into a voting block.
Right.
You want to abolish ICE, you set up an Abolish ICE page on Sway. You want to elect Chu to our as the next governor. You set up a voting block to say Chu for governor. And the idea is that Sway connects with the voter rolls and helps you then organize your neighbors, your community to say, hey, we are all going to vote on this block. It's free. Use it this weekend. And everybody make a goal. I'm going to get 100 people on my voter roll so that we will have 100 people who will be guaranteed to vote and will not be dissuaded from voting by this crypto nonsense, this AI nonsense, this DraftKings. I don't know if you saw DraftKings spending tens of millions of dollars. So this is an example of how we don't actually need billions of dollars. We just need millions of people taking action and organizing effectively. Sway.co is going to be, I'm using it. It's an effective tool. We've seen a 20% increase in voter turnout for people who are using this tool to organize. And it's free, so it costs you nothing except just making the time to make it happen.
Qasim, we need more time, man. We really do. We got to do this with a little bit more frequency. I know you're busy as hell, so it's we respect that. But thanks for hanging out with us this morning. We really appreciate it. Go check out Qasim Rashid, all the work that he's doing on all the socials. Thanks, man. We got to bounce. Thanks for being with us. Stay safe, and we'll talk soon.
Peace,
okay?
brother.
You too.
Take care.
Stay tuned for the Stephanie Miller Show, and remember this, guys. Take a deep breath and make your life count. We'll see you tomorrow.
WCPT 820 listeners, it's time for some girls news. In 2026, women's entrepreneurship is surging. Driven by a desire for flexibility and accelerated by AI and digital tools, women are increasingly leading in e-commerce, wellness, and service-based sectors, with a major trend towards solo, high-impact, and home-based businesses designed for a work-life balance. Women entrepreneurs are heavily utilizing AI and e-commerce tools to streamline operations and reduce cost. 68% of women entrepreneurs have cited a work-life balance as a primary motivator to becoming a business owner, driving the demand for virtual assistants, digital marketing, consulting, and online coaches. Now, despite the growth, there is a push for better banking support and policy with a focus on addressing the $3 trillion opportunity for women and minority-owned business acquisitions. WCPT 820 listeners, I'm Whitney Rydell, and this has been your Girls News.
Amazon Business empowers leaders with smart business buying tools, leaving time to focus on strategy and growth. Free up your teams and focus on your future at amazonbusiness.com.
AP News, I'm Marcela Sanchez. Wait times remain high at U.S. airports as senators discuss a plan to end the Homeland Security budget stalemate. by funding much of the department, including Transportation Security Administration airport workers.
A dispute in Congress over funding the Department of Homeland Security has held up the paychecks of TSA officers for close to 6 weeks now. And some officers, like Taylor Desert in Indiana, say they've had to rely on food banks.
I never thought I would be in a position to where working for the federal government that I would need to go to a food bank.
Sarah Estelle is Chief Outreach Officer at Gleaners Food Bank of Indiana.
In Indianapolis Airport, we have about 300 TSA workers who have been working without pay for some time with no end in sight at this point. So Gleaners is doing special distributions for these workers.
DHS says more than 455 TSA officers have quit so far instead of weathering the ongoing uncertainty. I'm Donna Warder.
Wall Street pointed toward solid gains and oil prices fell 6% today over the possibility of a de-escalation in Iran and negotiations with the U.S. The Trump administration has offered a 15-point ceasefire plan to Iran, but an Iranian military spokesperson mocked the U.S.'s attempt at a ceasefire deal. Officials in Minnesota have sued the Trump administration for access to evidence they say they need to independently investigate 3 shootings by federal officers, including the deaths of Renee Good and Alex Preddy. Fortnite publisher Epic Games says it's laying off 1,000 employees. The North Carolina-based video game publisher says the job cuts are not related to artificial intelligence. More stories at apnews.com. This is AP News.
AP Sports, I'm Gethin Coolbaugh. Tiger Woods' return to golf was spoiled in the TGL final. Woods played for the first time in more than a year, but Los Angeles Golf Club bested Woods' Jupiter Lynx team to capture the SoFi Cup. College basketball, North Carolina parted ways with men's coach Hubert Davis after 5 seasons. NBA, Donovan Mitchell scored 42 points and James Harden 26 to help the Cavaliers hold off the Magic 136-131. Florida's Paul Maurice became the second coach in league history to coach 2,000 NHL games. NFL veteran QB Joe Flacco is returning to the Bengals as Joe Burrow's backup. The NFL is preparing for the possibility of replacement officials in the 2026 season, and MLB outfielder Pete Crow Armstrong has agreed to a 6-year, $115 million contract with the Cubs.
I'm Marcela Sanchez, AP News.
This is 820 AM, WCPT Willow Springs, and streaming worldwide at WCPT820.com. We are Chicago's progressive talk, where facts matter. Now, your WCPT 820 weather update.
From the Weatherology Weather Center, I'm meteorologist Jennifer Wojcicki. Skies will become mostly sunny here for today with a high into the lower 70s. We'll have southwest winds at 5 to 15 miles per hour, gusting as high as 30. And then for tonight, a slight chance for some showers and thunderstorms. Cloudy skies with a low around 55. Thursday, a chance for showers and storms here late. Partial sunshine develops, high of 79 degrees. That's your latest Chicago weather update.
Currently, it's 45.
This is Chicago's Progressive Talk, 820 AM, WCPT Willow Springs, and online at WCPT820.com, where facts matter.
Hey, Clerk Elise, you got a guy who can fix my lamp?
I do. At the Township of Lyons Repair Cafe, neighbors help neighbors repair all sorts of things from lamps to vacuums. Little acts of mutual support that make a big difference.
Hey, Clerk Elise, you got a guy who can notarize documents?
The Township of Lyons has lots of notaries on staff ready to help.
Hey, Clerk Elise, you got a guy...
At the Township of Lyons, we are your guys. Whatever you need, we work to bring more resources right to you.
Check out the Township of Lyons online, Lyons with a Y, LyonsTownshipIL.gov.
A tree can be a warrior, battling global challenges with greater courage. A tree can be a solution, cleaning our air, supporting our communities, and protecting our wildlife. A tree can be noble, growing hope in every corner of the world. That's why now is the time for trees. Millions of trees. Join our planting movement at arborday.org.
Babes, what are you doing?
What? I'm just mowing the lawn.
No, it's blazing hot and dry out here. Don't you remember? Smokey Bear says,
Avoid using power equipment when it's windy or dry.
Where'd you learn this?
Oh, it's on
SmokeyBear.com, with many other wildfire prevention tips.
Right. Thanks, Honey Bear.
Because remember, only you can prevent wildfires.
Brought to you by the USDA Forest Service, your state forester, and the Ad Council.
Not all people are the same. And yet, when we visit the doctor, our treatments don't look that different. Why is that? Because we just don't have enough information to do it better. By gathering health data from 1 million people, our country's best researchers will be able to develop treatments that are as unique and complex as we are. With this new information, doctors will have a better understanding of disease so they can innovate the next great breakthroughs in medicine. Learn more at joinallofus.org.
Hey Google, play WCPT.
Streaming Chicago's